there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Carrie with Blue City Pickin, and if you are new here, I'm a part-time reseller that goes around to estate sales, garage sales, thrift stores, including the Goodwill bins, and attempts to find things to flip for a profit on eBay. This is Ching number 46, so this is for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday that had July 4th in the middle. It was a good few days. I had about $465 in gross sales, including taxes and all of that stuff. And then my profit was right around $205, which is great for 3 days, especially over a holiday. If you're new, if you like this kind of content on what's sold, I'd really appreciate if you would give me a subscribe and a like to this video. I put out 3 reseller videos a week, usually 1 to 2 what's sold and 1 to 2 like hauls or shop with me's. I am growing my channel right now and really trying to make sure that the content is useful. So any feedback you have is always appreciated as well. So let's go ahead and get into some more numbers. If you're new, I'm a numbers girly. I work in finance by nature. And so I do a lot of additional numbers that maybe you don't get in some of the other what's sold. I give you the price that I agreed upon with my buyer. I give you what I paid for it. I give you my gross profit, where I got it from, how many days it was on the platform, my averages, was it bread and butter, was it not, how my profit kind of erased from where I sourced it and the type of things that I sourced. I'm an everything seller, so pluses and minuses with that, but you can choose your own adventure because you have to pick what works for you. And what works for me is being a part-time everything seller on eBay alone. And I still make about 500-ish in profit a week, which is great for me for part-time. So let's go ahead and get into a few more numbers. Like I said, I made about $200-ish in profit. I had about $50 into my goods, so that's a great return on my investment. My average sales price was right around $15, and so my gross profit was only $9.25 per item. But I'm also in the process of getting rid of some older inventory. So there were several items that I accepted pretty low offers on, just to go ahead and move them out because I'd had them either close to a year or over a year. I sold 22 items this week. 19 of them were bread and butter with an average profit of $7.57. And 3 of them were sales with above $15 in profit, and they had about $20 in profit each. I am constantly trying to gather those items that are going to give me around a $15 profit on average. That is my goal. And my goal is to sell about 35 items a week. This particular week in total, if you go back to my other what's sold plus this one, I sold about 47 items, which is phenomenal for me to be able to purge some of my older inventory. And I also made right around that $500 in profit. So more items than I necessarily would want to sell. But like I said, I'm trying to get my inventory to a manageable level. All right, I had something sell in just 4 days, and then I had something that I had for 417 days. My average was right around 100 days on platform before they sold. And so a little over 100% sell through on the things that went out today, or those 3 days. All right, so the first thing that sold was this Sarah Coventry Gold Tone pen. It was the letter W. I had picked this up at an auction lot last summer. I have sold everything out of that. So all of my cost of goods has already been allocated for that lot. It sold for, I accepted an offer for $8. And so I made $5.66 after 365 days. Next up is this Fossil, like oiled canvas bag. The type of bag from Fossil is Keeper. It was floral pink shoulder bag. I actually picked this up at a Goodwill not too long ago during their 50% off everything day. So I have $3 into it. It's sold for $16, and so I made $10.35 after 6 days. Next item was a Funko Pop. This came from one of my daughter's cleanouts. This was a Pikachu Diamond Edition. So nothing into it. It sold for $8.50, and so $7.47 in profit after 9 days. Next up is a lot of 2 Travis Matthew shorts. I have had these for over a year. I bought them last, I think, March or April from a regular Goodwill. So I have about $12 into them. I had them listed separately, no bites, no offers or anything. So about a week or two ago, I pulled them, I bundled them. I got an offer for $15. I said goodbye, and so I made a whopping 18 cents after over a year on this pair of shorts, but I was able to recoup my money, and now I'm gonna be able to invest it into better inventory. Next up is a vintage Fisher-Price Little People. This was a little life preserver. It was yellow. It was literally like this big. I have $2 into this from a huge Little People buyout that I did back in May. It sold for $10.20, so I made $5.31 after 8 days. Next is a Studio Art pottery bowl. It was signed. I paid $4.99 for this at a Goodwill back in December. I got an offer for $13, so I said goodbye, and I made a profit of $5.84 after 206 days. Pottery is a tough one. I really like it, and I enjoy picking it up. It's just got a really long tail on it, so I don't know how much I'll continue to pick it up or not. I think it would have to be a really special piece for me to keep picking it up. Next up is a City Toy baby doll. I picked this up at the bins back in April. It was from $19.99. I had a 76-cent cost of goods that day, so I got an offer for $10, and I made $6.70 after 78 days. Next up was a teak wood serving bowl and 2 salad bowls that I picked up at a yard sale back in October. Sold for $6. Nope, I paid $6 for it. It sold for $21.55, and so I made $9.58 after 246 days. Pretty sure I had dropped the price on that one a couple times. Next up is a Le Bébé. This was a Lovey. It was dinosaur, which was why I picked it up at the bins back in June. I have a $1 cost of goods. It sold for $12, and so I made $7.91 after 23 days. So I say my goal is an average of $15. I do really like picking up Loveys and stuffed animals and things like that from the bins. I know I'm not gonna make $15 on average from most of them. So my goal with those is bread and butter, and my goal is to profit anywhere from like $8 to $10 on those items. They're easy listers, easy shippers. They are low risk if they're gonna break. So I don't mind making almost $8 on this little bitty tiny Lovey in just 23 days. So I'll take it. Next is a set of 2 Madeline paper doll books. They were unpunched, so everything was still in really nice condition. I picked these up at an estate sale back in March for $1. They sold for $11, and so I made $6.42 after 90 days. Next is another item out of that Little People buyout. This was a truck and trailer. I had $1 into this. It sold for $17, and so I made $14.06 after 8 days. Next, another item from my daughter's like shelf clean off or room cleanup. This was a Funko Pop of Raichu. It sold for $5.95, so not for very much. So we made a profit of $3.86 after 10 days. Next is a lot of 3 Play School Dollhouse family figures. It's from 1991. I got these at the bins back in May. Back in April. So I had a 76-cent cost of goods that day. They sold for $24.65, and so I made $17.91 after 80 days. Next is a Levenger sleeve brief folio. It was mesh and it was small. I had a $1.06 cost of goods at the bins this day. It sold for $14.54, and so I made $10.52 in 27 days. If you're not familiar with the Levenger brand, it is a very nice travel goods brand. I picked up a stack of different types of Levenger items at the bins. There was a Toomey mixed up in there, so I've made some pretty decent money off of those that have sold since I picked them up back in May. Next is another bins pickup. This was an Innova Pro golf disc. I had a $1.48 cost of goods this day back in April. It was not in the best of condition, so I accepted an offer for $9 and got it gone and made $5.53 in 87 days. Next item is a lot of Wally and Eve. It was 2 Funko Pops without the boxes, and they're a couple of Doorables. No cost of goods. They sold for $11.20, so I made $10.73 in 4 days. Once again, best part, hands down, of being a reseller is being able to sell your own stuff. And if you've changed your mind, or if you're purging things, like I constantly am curating the shelves behind me, I'm able to sell those things and recoup some money to either invest in other things that are interesting me at the time, or just save it up for vacation, which is usually my goal. Next up is a Ralph Lauren black label navy shirt dress. It had the belt. It was a size 14. I picked this up at a regular Goodwill back in April for $7.49. I got an offer for $39, and I just went ahead and accepted it. Could I have held out and gotten more? Maybe, but I hadn't had a lot of activity on this item since I listed it. So I just went ahead and got my $25.61 in profit after 63 days that I plan on reinvesting into something else. Next up is this really cool vintage 1980s Gatorade neon pink hat. Had a snapback. I paid $4 for this at Goodwill. This was like the one time I was okay with paying up for something at Goodwill that's a hat. My Goodwill like way overprices their hats. It's bananas. But this one was hella cool. I had it listed for way more. Once again, didn't get a whole lot of interest in it. So when I got an offer for $24, I just went ahead and accepted that and made $16.27 after 72 days. Next item is a set of 3 Mary Meyer taggies that I had picked up, and a Crinkle Me toy that I picked up at the bins over like a month. I kept finding them, and I'm like, well, I'll just make a lot of them. I have 88-cent cost of goods into these 3 items. They sold for $11.86, and so I made $7.69 after 57 days. Next 2 items are some really old things that I've had for over a year, and I want to say they did not come from the same estate sale or auction. This first one was a lot of 3 small vases. They were silver plated and made in India. I bought them in a lot. I think they were in a lot with silverware that I have completely sold, like covered off all of the cost of goods with all of that. So nothing into these. They sold for $10.07, and so I made $7.92 after 395 days. Next up is another really old item that I've had for 417 days. This was a Gorham Paul Revere silver plate pedestal bowl. It was really pretty, very cute. It even had the glass insert in it. Never got any nibbles on this thing, and I finally got a liker, and I sent them an offer for $12. They accepted. Nothing into this as far as cost of goods because I bought it in a lot with a bunch of other stuff, and so that's already been taken care of. And so I made $7.86 after 417 days. And then the last item that sold over these 3 days is another one that I picked up at my Goodwill's Everything is 50% off day. This was a vintage hand cook, I think is how you say it. It was a peach pie recipe dish. I really like picking up like stoneware pie plates that have the recipes in them or that are unique. I've picked up probably 3 or 4 over the last year, and they all have sold relatively quickly, especially ones with the recipes. I think I picked up like pecan pie, peach pie, pumpkin pie, and then the other one had like a winter scene on it that I picked up. So don't sleep on these. If you can get them for a decent price, they're worth a pickup. I paid $2 for this. It's sold for $16.15, and so I made $10.15 after just 12 days. They're not hard to ship. I have the perfect boxes size for them. They're like 12 by 12 by 4 or something like that. Bubble wrap, paper, good to go. No big deal. So all in all, a pretty decent week. Where my profits came from this particular week, about 60% of them came from Goodwill, 7 from auctions, 7 from estate sales, 14% from yard sales, and 11% from other. I assume that's my daughter's cleanouts. As far as the spread of what types of things sold and what types of things had the most profit, clothing, shoes, accessories with 32% this week. Usually that's more around 50%, so I'm definitely selling less clothing right now. I haven't been listing as much clothing and shoes lately, but I did pick up a bunch at the bins recently, so I'll be listing some more clothes soon. About 28% from household goods, about 32% from toys, and about 7% from collectibles. So all in all, a pretty decent 3 days. I will say that I think I think for 2 of these days, I ran a 10% off sale in the store. That did convert a few items. However, I believe that the majority of my sales were either from offers sent or offers received. So be open to offers. You're not making any money if you're sitting on your inventory, waiting for another couple bucks. I'm just as guilty of it as the other people. Like, there were several offers that I got and I countered them and then they were declined, and I'm like, I should have just accepted them. But I do want to value my time, and I know they will sell at some point, and some of them weren't taking up a whole lot of space. So I'm okay with where I am in my reselling journey. As I mentioned before, if you like this kind of content, I would genuinely appreciate a subscribe, a thumbs up, a share, a comment, anything that will help kind of push this video out in the YouTube algorithm and universe, to really help other resellers. That's why I do this. I love sharing this information with folks. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.